welcome back to another episode of Change Wired podcast. My name is Angela Sharina. I'm your host. I'm your partner in change, transformation, personal and collective growth. I'm also your executive health and high performance coach 360 here on a mission and with obsession for helping you unlock more of your potential to create the most extraordinary life and create the most positive impact in the world you are capable of. Today, guys, we are talking about pineapples and building habits and creating systems which allow you to do a lot of things with already busy schedule and without the need for discipline. Today, you also gonna understand why when you don't use a systematic approach or system thinking, system design approach to building your habits or changing the way you work, maybe the applications that you use, the way you talk to your coworkers, the way you give feedback to your teammates or people you hire. Today, you'll understand why so much change and transformation at workplace fails. Today, you're going to learn why so many of your attempts to build habits, create new routines also fail, and how to simply avoid all of that and set yourself up for more success. You're going to understand the neuroscience of it and how to apply it simply in your life and in your work to ultimately get consistent with the things you need to get consistent with to grow and create new results, whether it's your health, your work, your leadership, your family life, your relationships. It applies absolutely everywhere. And I want to start with a simple story. A real story, a mini case study from my client. He was trying, while we were working on creating balanced nutrition that he can consistently do no matter where he was. And one of the core principles everyone needs to understand in life to successfully change any habits and routines in already busy schedule and, with overwhelmed brain and so many balls flying in the air and you trying to hold so many plates. So one of the things you need to learn is that systems that support your new behavior needs to come first. You need to think about making it easy before thinking about why it happens or before hoping for it to succeed and stick in your life and again in already busy life consistently. So with this client, we were working on a specific action, specific habit, eating more fruit and vegetables. And specifically, we started working on eating more fruit. And pineapple was one of the things that he liked. And we decided, okay, for the next week, we're going to eat a serving of pineapple for breakfast. And he got the pineapple during his Sunday grocery shopping. And he got a whole pineapple, like with outer layer, with all this peels and green top. It looks fantastic. And he put it on the kitchen counter, I'm not going to forget because it's right there. And the next week when we saw each other on a call, pineapple stayed there. Nothing happened to that pineapple. It was just fine, but and ready to be eaten, but unfortunately it stayed untouched. What was the mistake there? If you ever bought a whole pineapple, you probably know what a pain in the ass it is getting through that pineapple. But you'd be surprised how lazy the brain is. Even with simpler fruit, you don't want to do the extra work on top of your busy schedule. Never. You already are too busy and all of your time is sort of occupied with things that you already do. So the next week, we decided to get cut pineapple, actually cut fruit bowls. Not bowls, but, those boxes which are made of plastic and you open it up and you can eat your pineapple or whatever the fruit is with your hands or with your fork. So the next week, he got a couple of boxes of fruit, pineapple including, and he went through 2 boxes with no problem whatsoever. So what's the takeaway? The takeaway is to make the thing easy, or the old thing or the wrong thing will get done instead. I call it the principle of cut pineapple, and I always tell this story to remind people that the brain is lazy first. And again, especially if you already have the busy schedule, and most of us do have busy schedule, and there is, you don't want to do extra work and spend extra time on freaking pineapple. You just want to have your breakfast and be done with that. But also think about work scenario. People come to work and they already have their schedules full. They already have a lot of to-do lists and KPIs and things they're accountable for. And if there is on top of that, you tell people, well, use AI. Think about how you can reimagine your work with AI. Unless you make it super easy, you create the time, the space for everyone to perhaps do it together, for people to keep each other accountable, for people to create some capabilities, some simple space and time, and also not telling people, do something, but actually telling them, hey, here is what you're going to do. And that usually would fall on the shoulders of team manager, thinking about, okay, for my team, what makes sense to experiment, to play with, and then creating a playbook. Maybe you already also have people who are enthusiastic about AI and have quite a lot of use cases. So what you're going to do is you're going to ask those people to write a mini manual, a recipe. Hey, try this thing to do that, thing, and put that on people's calendar. So that is cut pineapple principle applied to work. Make the right thing easy. Otherwise, people will forget, people delay it, people will do something else, the usual thing, the thing that allows them to move in a predictable fashion forward with their KPIs, with their to-do list. So that's how cut pineapple principle is applied to work scenario. Another work scenario is giving feedback, giving better feedback. So everyone universally gives feedback in the same way in your company, on your team, or maybe communicates with customers, handling certain complaints or certain issues in a consistent manner. You don't tell people be customer centric. You cut the pineapple. And how do you do that in this scenario? You create simple scripts. Hey, this is how we give feedback. We say this first, we say that second, we say that third, and then we see how it goes. And we create maybe dashboard and create something fun to keep people accountable and measure and make things visible. This is how you cut pineapple. So if you're a leader, if you are a team manager, anyone who helps people to do the right thing, your job is not to just tell people what to do. Your bigger job is to design systems to cut that freaking pineapple, to make the right thing simple and easy and understandable, so people don't have to make decision and second guess and figure it out, like how to cut that pineapple and get to what they actually want to do. I read an interesting research as well. I was writing an article, a blog about how more choice creates the state where people don't want to make any choice. When there was a research where they gave people a choice between 24 flavors of jams, and then for another group they gave a choice of only 6. Now, there were more people interested in 24 flavors, but only 3% bought anything. And there were less people interested in 6 flavors, but 30% bought that jam. That choice, that paralysis by analysis is a real thing, especially in our day and time where you have almost limitless options. Like more choice, more options, play with it is not good enough. Or just giving people that, pineapple, that AI. No, you got to cut it in pieces and explain every piece before people dig into that or bite into that. But I didn't want to talk about that research specifically. What I wanted you to think about is that I read another piece of research about how 88% of actions we take are taken out of habit. They're not intentional, not something people think about and make choices about and make decisions about. It's something habitual. So 88% of what people end up doing. And the principle of cut pineapple creates an opportunity to interrupt that habitual pattern. How does it do so? Because your brain is very much interested in doing the easy thing. And if you make something easy enough, then the person will do that even if it's a new thing. So as a system thinker, as a system designer, as someone who oversees the choices and to-dos for yourself or your family or your team or your entire organization, your job, again, is to make sure that 88% of those habitual actions are actually the right kind of actions. And you do it by using a lot that cut pineapple principle, which stands for if you don't make the right thing easy enough, the old thing or the wrong thing will get done. So next time when you're thinking about strategic move, change, transformation, reimagining SOP or workflow, or using new software, don't think about what so much. Think about how can you make this right thing as easy as possible so people can easily slide into doing it versus having to struggle with old systems, figuring it all out, making choices and decisions, which can lead to mistakes, which people don't want to do because they're accountable for all kinds of things at work and in their life. People don't like making mistakes in general. And if you make something super clear, super easy, make them understand that by doing so, they will not make mistakes, but there are only going to be gains, you're going to be winning. And when it comes to your own schedule, when it comes to your own habits, today, you know what I did yesterday when I looked at my week and I'm working on my business a lot and I'm trying to grow sales? I asked myself, okay, I cannot control everything. I cannot control the outcomes, what people are going to tell me, what opportunities I'm going to get exactly. But I can control how many hours I'm going to dedicate each day to outreach, to sales call, etc. So I'm like, okay, it's going to be 4 hours of the outreach and then on top of that calls or all the other work that I have to do. So 4 hours of sales outreach. And what I did next, I asked myself, how can I make the rest of my routines so easy so I have no chance but to stick with that commitment? How can I make that commitment easy? So what I did, I looked at my weekly schedule and I made the time for those 4 hours to happen and I put them there in advance. So when something comes up, and it always does, and I need to plan other things on top of that, I can say yes or no based on my commitment to having those 4 hours of outreach. I removed everything that could interfere with that. I put my commitment in different places. I, again, made sure that the thing that I need to be doing more of is clearly defined with a time and space container, and everything else in my life works around it. And I have it on my calendar so I don't have the opportunity to schedule something on top of that and then worry about, well, I don't have time now for the outreach because I scheduled this meetings or calls or something else that running some errand on top of that. No, it's there. Nothing else can get into the time slot. And I know where I'm going to do it. And I know what exactly I'm going to do because I also put it in my journal, my business journal, where I put things like how exactly I'm going to do the outreach to what kind of companies by what kind of medium, whether that's email or LinkedIn or something else. So I put that in advance, make it very clear, very simple, maybe not easy, but super simple to understand when I'm going to do, what I'm going to do it. And that's about it. That's the cut pineapple principle applied to work. But the same also with my nutrition and my workouts. I scheduled all my workouts. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I shopped and prepped and did everything for my groceries. I made a plan with my nutrition. So I don't have to think about any of that, but to the area of my primary focus, which is sales and my business development. That is how you apply cut pineapple principle to your life, to your work relationships, to giving feedback, to achieving goals, to changing your habits, to pretty much everything. Once you figure out what it is that you want to focus on, what it is that you want to do, don't stop there. Ask yourself, Did I cut my pineapple, or is it still sitting whole on the counter waiting for the better times or the perfect life? And that's the question I'm going to leave you with today, dear listener. Before you jump off, don't forget to share this podcast episode with at least one other person who you might want to learn with or apply this principle. Let's share this episode with some leader, with team manager, with someone who's struggling with helping other people do the right thing. Make them aware that it might not be the problem of the people or them, but not having the system thinking, system design in place, making the right thing, the cut pineapple or the easy thing, so the old and the wrong thing doesn't get done instead. Share, review this podcast, and what else? Till next time, guys, keep cutting that pineapple and keep growing.